Hey YouTube, no, what's in the bag? I know what's in this bag though. It was meant to be. I was meant to do two guitars in this video, but I didn't. So this, it's a Harley Benton. Tell what it is yet? Whatoo? Yes. So this, someone's been fidgeting with the wiring. So this, the Brian May Red Special, isn't it? I have heard such horrible things about these guitar, about the original guitar, not these ones, not the Harley Benton one or any of the reissues. I'm talking about the one that Brian May and his dad made. I was just like, apparently it's pure awful. I mean, it sounds good. He uses it in enough things. So this one, the way Brian May's one, the original one, is wired is it's got 6 on-off switches. The pickups are hardwired in series, and each one's got an on-off switch, and each one's got a phase switch. So there's that. That gives you all the Brian May sounds. This one isn't that. This has 3 switches, which are phase, right, which is fine, and then a 5-way strat switch. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look up and see how this is meant to be wired, because for me, if I was a huge Queen fan, I'm quite a big Queen fan. I'm not going to bother plugging this in because the reason I've got it is I was meant to wire it when I was down at download, and I just didn't have time to get round to it. But I want to wire it so it does all the things Brian May's guitar should do, which is actually a little bit of it's a wee bit of a Sudoku for me. I'm quite looking forward to it, to be honest. So I don't have I don't have the 6 switches, so I've got to make it do all the things that Brian May's does and other things using a 5-way switch and 3 on-offs. Thinking about it with the phase switches, say you've got 2 pickups, right? My pal has a Geosonic which does this, so it's got two switches, on, off, out of phase switches. So if you've got both the pickups on in phase, that's fine. That's both the pickups on. If you turn one of them out of phase, they're both out of phase. If you turn the other one out, the other one out of phase as well, then they're both back in phase. So there's no point in having, say you've got 2 pickups, there's no point in having 2 phase switches, because if you can make the neck out of phase with the bridge, but then you can make the bridge out of phase with the neck, but if it's already out of phase, they both end up the same. So basically you only need 1 switch. Same principle with the 3 of these switches. There's no point having 3, say if you say you take away the one that phases the neck pickup, you can still have it out of phase with this, or in phase with this, or out of phase with this, or in phase with this, and these can still be separate. There's no point in having 3 switches, so one of these switches will not be a phase switch anymore, because it doesn't do... It might make it easier to work. You could always argue that in Brian May's guitar it would be exactly the same. He's got his 6 switches, 3 on-offs, 3 phases. Take out one of those phases, and the guitar still does all the sounds that it does with it in it. It doesn't... It's not required, as I said, if you put all 3 pickups out of phase, they're all back into phase. Yeah. So I'm quite looking forward to getting this up and running. They've even called it a BM as the model. It's not Brian May. It's just coincidence. It looks a bit like him. It's not as small as I expected it to be. I wonder if this is like one of these. They've taken some liberties to make it a bit more practical. I was expecting Brian May to be tiny and have terrible neck dive. It doesn't really seem that small. I don't even know what scale it is. There you go. It's a 25-inch scale, which is not a common scale. I remember seeing a thing about Paul Reed Smith inventing the 25-inch scale, which the Washburn Falcon is. I think acoustics are sometimes 25 as well, so it's in the middle. A Gibson's 24 3/4 and a Fender's 25.5, so it's kind of closer to a Gibson, I suppose. It's got a 2-point trem. It's not set. It's kind of... It just needs fidgeted with. Again, this is my issue with Harley Benton. I think, to be fair, so I think somebody has been in this and they've tried to alter it to make it do more what Brian May does, because the 5-way switch is a strange one, because it's kind of kind of not what you want. I need to what there's a video saying what the sounds that Brian May uses mostly, and it's mostly I think these two in series and this one on its own, or this one and this one out of phase. There's two combinations that he uses all the time. So this guitar will do them when I'm done, for sure. It's amazing how my confidence in this is so much lower than that Ibanez, because that Ibanez, it's got issues. There's things I need to fix, but cut the nut. All these things are not a problem. Because it's a Harley Benton, I'm a little bit feared because it's like thinking, oh, what else am I going to find? You know, it's like it's got the big fancy looking pickups. It really needs to take that. It looks fucking awful. That the plastic film on it. It's all scratched and it looks fucking awful. So that's getting peeled off once it's getting taken to bits. The bridge, I don't know. I don't want to just rip on it, because I mean the thing is, if you're a big Queen fan, I mean I think, to be honest, a lot of these will be for hanging on the wall. Big Queen fan, need the Brian May guitar. I get it. I don't know how much these cost, 150 quid, something like that. So I get it. You know, big Queen fan. You've got your picture discs on the wall. Have this hanging next to it. No, I can't remember what the headstock. I'd said that was a Flying V headstock. I don't know if I can actually remember what Brian May's one looks like. Obviously this isn't none of the parts are correct, because was it just not like a ball bearing out of a motorbike and a bent knitting needle and such things, as opposed to being, you know, actually an off the shelf guitar. So it's like none of these parts are what are on Brian May's guitar, but it looks like it. It does have a 2-point trem, which is probably quite good, assuming I can make it set up right. I hope they put it in the right place. I had problems with these before. That's actually very similar to the one that was on that Fusion Telecaster, which I fucking hated. It was a horrible bastard of a guitar. That's what spoiled Harley Benton for me, was that guitar. There was another one before that my ex-pal had, that had so many faults it was ridiculous, but it was a B stock, and it was the £100 telly, and it was just everything. It was like, for £100 telly, there's no way for £100 I could make it play for another £100. Do you know what I mean? Or you could buy a Squire one for 150 that works. So, you know, it's a difficult one. So I suppose I need to learn some Queen once I've got this up and running. This will be coming up next week. Good fun. I think, to be honest, it looks the part. It totally does. Brian May is just one of those people that you just kind of... There's some people you just don't ever really bother trying to learn to play their stuff. Brian May is one of them. It probably isn't all that hard. I think for a beginner it's very hard, whereas that's for something like Black Sabbath or the Stones or something. Not saying that they're not good or difficult, but there's quite a lot of Sabbath songs that you can kind of play with the bulk of the song without really having to be very good. You don't need a lot of technique and experience to be able to do that stuff. Whereas, or something like Nirvana are even better. You know, you can basically, after a couple of weeks, you can play half a dozen Nirvana songs, because just of the inherently of the way they go. Whereas Brian May, the Queen stuff's always a little bit more complicated and takes a little bit more thought. Yeah, so I'm quite looking forward to getting this one up and running. Sort of. I'm half looking forward to it. I'm also half not looking forward to the working on it thing. Maybe I'll change my mind in Harley Benton's. Have I ever actually owned one? I did own that Fusion one, I suppose, technically. I sold that to my pal, and I was like, look, so have you done a video? And I was like, I did a video, but it's fucking, you don't think you want to see it? I hadn't put it live yet at the time, and I sent it to him. He was like, that's fine. It's like, in the video, I'm basically going, this is shit. I fucking hate it. Oh, God, it's awful. And he bought it anyway, but he was more... If you look it up on the internet, that guitar goes for 250 quid, and I was selling it for 180. So, how can he lose? My problem was, look, mate, this guitar is shit, but you can sell it for 250 quid. I didn't say that, obviously, but I think that's kind of how these things go. You know, it's like that. I mean, there's an awful lot of guitar people do that. You know, they're not really... Does it matter if it's a good guitar or not? it doesn't really matter. It's like, it's what they sell for. So here's my Gibson Les Paul, which I always rip on as well. It's worth 1,500 quid. Is it? Yes, look here on the internet. Look, there's lots of people selling this exact guitar for 1,500 quid. Alright, okay. So it's worth 1,500 quid. Yep. Can you get a fucking much better guitar for 1,500 quid? Yes. But that doesn't mean the Gibson one's not worth that, because that's what they sell for. So therefore, you know, just because people are stupid doesn't, you know, don't know. Again, I need to stop slagging off Harley Benton and Gibson and Fender Classic Vibe and whatever else I'm going to continue to slag off. It's all a taste thing. You know what I mean? All guitars are cool if they work. Apart from that, no, maybe not all of them. But I got another message there. It's like, oh, Harley Benton's thingy's gone up much better. I've got 6 of them, and you're just like, okay, calling kettle black. Why do you have 6 Harley Bentons when you could have one good guitar instead? When you can go like, oh, you could sell all of them and buy one Les Paul. Yes, I could, but my argument is that all these guitars are better than a Les Paul. I'd maybe argue that these two maybe aren't better than a Gibson Les Paul. All the Japanese ones are, you know, and that one is a Les Paul. So how can it be better than one, whereas it is one? Yeah. So I need to have a wee look. There's no point in asking. I was just happy. How would anyone else do it? I just have this problem with the guitar wiring thing. I'm actually looking forward to meeting Billy Sheen and telling him about how I wired up the bass that we're going to give him. Because I think he might not glaze over when I'm describing it. Which you probably all do it when I start talking about things like it's not complicated. A lot of guitar wiring, it's just fucking really difficult to make it sound like it's not complicated. That's why, you know, I do a video, put a switch in. It's just a 2-way switch. Does that appear? That's as easy. It's like in my head. It's like pure. It just does that. Bang. Easy. I can't say that though. 20 minutes later, I'm still going, yeah. So if you use this pickup with this combination, it does this, and like try to explain it. And it's like it's really flipping difficult to explain what the hell's going on when it's something that's actually super basic. But it's, I suppose it's that thing. How to make it? How you can't underdo it, or you can overdo. You can make it too complicated or not complicated enough. There's a thing I've been thinking Starship Mud Skipper on Facebook on YouTube, which you should check out. Starship Mud Skipper. What they call the snake's paw or something like that. They are Starship Mud Skipper. Check that out if you're at all into sci-fi stuff. It's fucking brilliant. There's a brilliant bit of that when they're talking about main character. His dad made a fucking neutron bomb thing, time portal thing. He's like, up here, yes. At the start of the latest season, he's got to try and explain it. He's like, up here, yes. And he's up in court explaining your father's machine. Keep it really simple. He's like, well, you know, space is a big black thing, and he's like, up here, more complicated. It's like, right, okay, so, and he's like, but while he's trying to explain it, the judge or the prosecutor is like, no, a little bit less complicated than that, right? Okay, no, more complicated than that, just to try and get that level of going, this is a guitar, and these make noise, to the point of going, yeah, so it's flipping phasing. You know, there's a window somewhere in there where it makes sense, which I'm not good at. Which I was. I even got into that, explaining how the Brian May's guitar works. Fucking simple, but so you can turn each pickup on and off, or you can have them backwards. That's it. But that's not enough, is it? You need to know what. Oh, and they're in series. What does that mean? Like, because they're in series, it means you can make them in. That's a good point, actually. I wonder if Brian May's ones must be. I wonder if they're is this? They are, right? Okay. I'm pretty sure Brian May's ones won't be. So if you run these two in series, you've got a humbucker because they're opposite magnetic poles. They're opposite magnet and they're wound the other way around, so you can make a humbucker out of them. So Be interesting how I'm going to work this out, because I don't know how to use a 5-way switch to put things in series. But that's just me. Maybe a lot of people just want a guitar that looks like Brian May's, whereas I want one that, no, I want it to do what Brian May's one does. I want it to sound like Brian May's, which, you know, well, I mean, okay, it does have the Burns trisonic pickups in it, but I mean, not that much difference between a Burns trisonic pickup and a normal Strat pickup. You know what I mean? It's like, if you put them both in, if you wire it up the same way and play the same thing on it, yeah, you're going to be 90% of the way there. It's not like a completely fundamentally different thing. So I need to have a wee think about this, how I'm going to make the 5-way lever. It must be possible. There's a way of doing it. Again, it's got to be easy to use, which is what I've been doing with my switches over the last few years anyway. Not at the start. At the start, I just made it do everything, so you end up with like a switchboard, and it does absolutely everything. But what I'm trying to do now is like, you don't need to understand how it works or why it works, but you need to be able to operate it. You know, later on, even at the start when I started doing the switchy casters and stuff like that, I like the idea of, like, say you've got 3 switches. See, if you pull them all up, it's just a normal guitar. So I always want a get out clause in all my crazy wired guitars where you can just hit one switch or do this and you've just got a normal guitar. It's just not everything, you know, you've just got a Strat, as opposed to being, or to make it like a Strat, you put this down, this up, put this in here. No. I always want it to be able to get back to, for someone who's picking it up for the first time at a jam or something like that. It's like, go up and play fucking Jumpin' Jack Flash with me, that's fine, right? What's all this crap? You just go, I just turn those 3 switches off and then you've just got a normal Strat, it's fine. You know, I kind of want to be able to do that. Rock on. Out of battery in this bastard. Where's my cursor? Oh, it's way over there because I was looking up Starship Mudskipper. Look up Starship Mudskipper though, or the Snake's Paw, and it's basically, I listen to it when I'm going to bed, going to sleep, and it's fucking brilliant. It's kind of, I suppose it's a bit like Red Dwarf, maybe. It's a little bit more brutal. It's just guys. I've only got fucking, I think they've maybe got more subs than me now, but they didn't, and it's like they're putting out this thing, and it's like, see when there's no, I mean, I don't know if you saw that I was watching all this shit about the Star Wars Acolyte thing, and it's so much stuff on YouTube about it because it's got all its diversity and all this, and it's got all lesbians and black people, and there's not any white men in it, and all this stuff, and they're changing everything. It's like, and it's got pronouns in it, and you're like, oh god, it's like none of that, because they're not pandering to anyone. They're basically building what they want, so it can just be whatever it wants. I mean, it's a radio show, so I don't even know if any of the people are black, because it doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck. It's like, I don't really care whether she's a lesbian or not. Is it part of the story? Well, no, it doesn't really matter, or whatever, you know, like be gay and like that. It's like, these things are, when you've got to wedge them into modern things, because if you wedge them in, then you're guaranteed a 10% of the audience will go, oh my god, they've put gay, there's a gay kiss in it, yes, I love this. It doesn't matter how good the show is, you know, you've always got that. It's kind of like the same thing as what's happening with politics as well, you know, it's like, you've got to put racist stuff in your policies, because if you say you know, subtly, I just don't like immigrants, you're guaranteed 10% of the vote with all the bigots. So whereas if you say, oh no, immigrants are great, there's nothing wrong with that, all inclusive, you're guaranteed to lose 10%, because that 10%, that's so important to them. They don't give a shit what your policies are. They only just want, against black people, yes, right, I'll vote for that. It doesn't matter anything else. So you've got to have that in it, for even if you're trying to do good things, you know what I mean? It's like, all that. The other thing that keeps getting me as well, I kind of want to do a defence of the Acolyte thing. It's shit. It's just a shit show. It doesn't really annoy me that much though. And this whole this is the pronoun one and all that, and you're like, up here, the he, she and all that, and it's basically, it's so blown out of all proportion. I don't get it. Because the thing, I saw the episode with the bit in it, and it's like a fucking a waist high gerbil tracking animal thing, and it's like, it doesn't even speak, it just goes like that, and it's like the girl's like, up here, whoa, it's like, what's that? And it's like, up here, that's our tracker. It's like, up here is she, are they on our side? And it's like, well, it's a sort of furry hamster type thing that doesn't even speak, so I get that. It's like, You know, it's like if it's like a dog or something. Okay, maybe you can see its willy, but from the top, it's like you don't know. It's like so. I just that doesn't seem. It doesn't seem like such a big thing, but it's all over the internet. But I mean, to be honest, I know I'm kind of veering onto this acolyte thing a little bit. It doesn't annoy me as much as some of the other Star Wars stuff because at least they're not taking Luke Skywalker, who was a hero when I was growing up, and turned him into a total arsehole. They didn't do that. They're taking characters that you don't know, and they're a bit boring, and it's a bit bland, and it's not really that exciting, and it's not really very Star Warsy. But that you're not taking something. I don't know. I've been watching up about this thing. It's like the Ghostbusters 2016 thing, the thing that changed cinema forever. It's like, right, we've made a Ghostbusters thing, right? It's fucking awful, right? But if we use the angle where we've gender swapped the 4 characters to make them women, right? Doesn't matter whether the film's good or not. We can say, you just don't like it because you're sexist. Wow, there we go. Fucking all that stuff, and it's like that's why they did it. And you're like, no, but you know what I mean? It's like, okay, fair enough. If they'd made the Ghostbusters one with the girls in it, if it was a really good film, you would probably get 1% of people who would go, they've made them women. You know what I mean? Maybe something like that are not going to like it because they've gender swapped them. But that's not why the film's shit. The film's fucking awful, but it's all improvised and it's not funny and it's terrible. It doesn't make any sense and all these other things. But because they've just not bothered with any of that stuff, they can just go, you're just racist or sexist or whatever like that. So it's like kind of putting in, they're preempting people just thinking, you didn't really write a very good story, yeah. Characters are all kind of crap. Like, you just don't like them because they're women. It's like, no, I don't like them because they're not characters. Going on for a film I actually fucking loved the other day. I watched, I don't know why I was thinking about it, The Rocketeer. A Disney film. A proper Disney film. Fucking brilliant film, The Rocketeer, if you've not seen it. And James Horner music. That was actually, I was humming that the other night. I had to watch the intro just to get the music. Na 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 na. No 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 no. No 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 no. Fucking great. But it's just like a film about some guy who's a bit of an idiot, a bit of a dick, doesn't do anything right, but decides at some point to do the right thing. But film, not wow, superpowers. I'm already fucking amazing at everything. Don't worry about it. It's like, because it's only got about 4 people in the thing, but they're actual characters that make sense. It's like, what's Timothy Dalton's character? Oh, he's like an actor who's a Nazi and blah, 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 blah. It's not, what's Timothy Dalton's character? Oh, he's gay. But what's his character? He's gay. Right, no, but what? Yeah, I'll get ratioed myself. Rock on.